That he who blesseth himself in the earth shall bless himself in the God of truth. And he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the God of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from mine eyes. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build, and another inhabit. They shall not plant, and another eat. Whereas the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord.
The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he's getting ready to set us up over the planet Earth. And just how he used Esau to take over the earth, what he called manifest destiny, he's going to use his men, the children of Israel, his elect, with his son Yahushua, leading with our King David, 12, the whole house of David, all right? They gonna take over the new world. They're gonna take over the planet Earth and establish righteousness, just as Esau took over the earth and established wickedness. The children of Israel are gonna take it over and establish righteousness. That's how this thing gonna go, man.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, okay, today is dealing with the book of Baruch, chapter 5, okay, which is the last chapter in this book. So it's to close out the series of Baruch, the water to Yahweh Bashim Al Shai for getting us through. Lord will, this has been an edifying, series. And this last book, goes into, us putting on the elect, okay, which is our conduct, okay, and also our great return in glory, our great return back, to Israel, back to Jerusalem in glory. We left for shame, but we're going back, with great glory. And that's the best ending, okay, to the Lord's movie. You see, the Lord has a beautiful movie, playing out in the earth. The Lord will. We are of the elect, okay, of that movie. And if we are, the Lord's going to put a spirit on us to put on the elect, which is a mindset, a conduct, which is a way, a belief. Okay. So let's go to the book of Baruch, um, the fifth chapter. Okay. This is the book of Baruch. All right, chapter 5 and verse 1. It says, put off of Jerusalem the garment of mourning and affliction. Okay. And put on the comeliness of the glory that cometh from the Most High forever. Okay. So we're putting off the garment of mourning and affliction. Okay. This garment of, hopelessness. Okay. This garment of defeat, that, because you go into the behavior of our people, it comes from a place of them being defeated, hopelessness, okay, confusion. All right, all this comes from what? Captivity, but the Lord has put a spirit, on the remnant, to be set free from that mindset. See, we have hope now. We have a standard now. We have a culture that we've been linked back to, an inheritance that we've been linked back to. Okay, a way to be. You see, the Lord has raised us out of the dust. Is raising us out of the dust because it's a continual process. Of confusion and lowliness. Okay, out of this state of mourning and affliction. Okay, it says, and put on the comeliness of the glory that cometh from the Most High forever. And how do we put off, all right, the garment of mourning and affliction? Well, through in the hearing of this word, and not only just the hearing, okay, but the belief. Okay, so let's go from there. In fact, read two, and then we'll go and get some precepts. Okay, then expound on, okay, what does it mean to put off the garment of mourning and affliction, to put on the comeliness of the glory that coming from the Most High forever. It said, cast off thee a double garment of righteousness, which cometh from the Most High, and set a diadem on thy head of the glory of the everlasting. Okay? So putting on the garment of righteousness, putting on the way. Okay? In the spirit, putting on the way. Adam and Eve, okay, they became naked when they what? When they left righteousness. The nakedness is a what? Is shame. So they went into the way of shame, okay, of wickedness, okay, which brings about shame. Okay, I don't care how much, all right, Esau promotes wickedness as the way to be. You can't get rid of the element of shame that comes with it. Okay, there's still an element of shame that comes with the wickedness that this man promotes, because you're naked. All right, but if you're fully clothed, especially if you're clothed in, splendid clothing, okay, and that's our integrity, that's our honor. You see, that's our righteousness, man. That's our splendor as a people, is our behavior, our conduct. All right, and that's why Esau, he put so much money and resources and time, okay, in modifying our people behavior to be anti-Messiah. But as the elect, we've been free from those enchantments, all right, to put on, okay, righteousness, okay, which coming what from the Most High, instead of diadem, which is like a turban. Brothers wear the head wraps, but it's like a royal, turban will have a stone, precious stone in the middle. Okay, the nobles will wear what they'll diadem. Okay, and this is us putting on this truth. Okay, covering our mind. Okay, with faith and obedience, which is leading to what an everlasting salvation. Now, how do we begin to clothe ourselves? Well, first, It comes through what? The hearing of the word. Okay, let's go here to Job 29:14. It says, I put on righteousness. You see that? I put on righteousness and it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. Okay, you read this in the get a few other translation. All right, this is in the NLT. So through the hearing of His word, we're decking ourselves out in obedience. Okay, it says, I put on righteousness, the AMP. I put on righteousness and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban. So hearing His word is clothing us with righteousness, man. In the NLT, everything I did was honest. Righteousness covered me like a robe, and I wore justice like a turban. You see, he had a mindset towards justice, man. So going here, let's go to the book of Isaiah. All right, you go to Isaiah 6:1. All right, because as the Lord has raised up the prophets in this time, and this began with Yahushua. Okay, this is Isaiah 61 and 1. It said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. And he have sent me to bind up the brokenhearted and to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. You know? So through the preaching of His word, we've been loose, okay, and set free, okay, from these enchantments of our captivity, man. Because even though, we're physically captives, where our minds are not captive anymore. Okay, the Lord, through this word, all right, the prison has been opened. We've been set free. To we're able to put on the elect. Okay, when we are operating as a nigga, as a Christian, all right, as a hot girl, whatever, Miss Independent, whatever you operating under that, you're a captive. You can't put on the elect. You can't put on the robes of righteousness. Okay, under the banner of those enchantments, man. Okay, those imprisonments of the mind. Okay, but through the preaching of His word, those prisons have been bust open, man. Okay, and we're able to put on the elect. You see, we're operating outside the enchantments of Esau Edom. Okay, so reading down, we read verse 2 said, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion. Verse 2 said, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, all right, which is His return. Okay, the return of Yahushua. And the day of vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn. See, we're being comforted now. Okay, before the truth, we wasn't comforted, man. This devil, he's so crafty. He sold self-destruction to our people as comfort. Money, drugs, just random, sex and, terrible diets, you know, violence. He sold self-destruction as comfort to our people. Okay, but now we have a true message of comfort, man. All right, the return of Yahushua, all right, which is coming with righteous judgment, man. Because as we learn righteousness, the more we learn righteousness, all right, the more we become like Yahushua, well, we, all right, and grow a thirst for righteous judgment, and we're comforted, okay, by, all right, the prophecy of Yahushua returning, to execute righteousness in the earth. Verse 3 said, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beautiful ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. You see that? So that spirit, of being defeated, all right, trodden down by this system. Well, no, now we're putting on the garment of praise, man. We have the spirit to praise our power daily now, man. We don't just have, heaviness, just, I say that defeated, okay, hopeless spirit. Okay, that conquer spirit. You see, now we're putting on the garment of praise. Okay, said that they might be called the trees of righteousness, or the people. Trees are likened to people. Okay, the trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. All right, and the Lord is getting ready to what? Plant his people, their remnant in the earth. Okay, as their righteous seed. All right, which is going to flourish, which is going to spread out. It's going to be an invasive, righteous plant that the Lord's getting ready to plant in the earth, man. The remnant of Israel. Okay, let's go from there. Let's get Isaiah. All right, 52. Here's the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, and it says, "Awake, awake!" And how are we awaken? Through the preaching of His word. Everything starts with the preaching of His word, and this is what the Lord is dealing with. This is why we know we don't need gimmicks and the extras. No, the preaching of His word is awakening our people, man. And our people are beginning to put on their strength, to put on the elect. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garment. See, this is our strength. When we come back to the obedience of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, this is our strength. And the heathen know that. Beginning the upper echelon of the heathen, they know this. Beginning with Esau. Okay, that's why the book of Judah, it went into us. Okay, what? Matter of fact, let's get it. It says, "Awake, awake, put on thy strength." Okay, well, what is our strength? Let's go there. In the book of Judah. Okay, there's the book of Judah, the 5th chapter. This is the book of Judah, chapter 5, and verse 17. It says, "And whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the power that hated iniquity was with them." Okay, so our strength is obedience. Okay, through faith in Yahweh Shai. Okay, our strength is obedience, and right now we're commanded to obey Yahweh Shai. Which is to love the Most High with all our heart and soul, and love thy brother as thyself. Okay, which under that umbrella, okay, it sets the atmosphere for righteousness, man, for integrity, for honor. Okay, and for actually keeping the law. Okay, because the law is rooted in love for the Heavenly Father and love for your fellow Israelite, man. Okay, it says, "But when they departed from the way which He appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of the power was cast to the ground. All right, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now are they returned to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against His people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world." Okay, so he this heathen, all right, this is, I think it's an Ammonite. Okay, he understands, all right, that if we're in good standings with our power, hey, we're strong people. They can't do nothing with us, man. And he also knows that if we are in bad standings with our power, then we're for the taking. So as we've awakened, we put on our strength, man, which is obedience. See, the elect is okay, coming back into good standings through Yahweh with the Most High. All right, and that's why Esau is in for a hell of a surprise. All right, when he makes his move against the elect. Okay, because the elect has what put on their strength. Okay, which is obedience and faith to our power, man. Okay, so going back, let's go here. So let's finish this off. It says, awake, awake, put on thy strength, on Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and unclean. Okay, because we'll never be taken down. Okay, again. Okay, because in times past we was, the uncircumcised, the heathen, were allowed to conquer us, man, because of disobedience. Okay, but this time we're going to be perfected. We're going to have the law in us. Okay, it's going to be in our members. You see, so we'll never be in bad standards with our power. Okay, and these heathens going to be in subjection forever. Okay, and they're going to be in subjection to righteousness, man. That's what this thing is about. The heathen being subjugated to righteousness, man. Okay, so when you read on, all right, let's go here to Colossians, you know, the book of Colossians, chapter 3, and verse 12. It says, "Put on, therefore, as the elect of the Most High, okay, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, all right, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering, man. These are all attributes, okay, that the hopeful elect will have. Understanding mercy, humility, meekness, long suffering, you know, because it's a thing of patient suffering, man. And it's true. That's an attribute, okay, as well. So we put on the elect, just like we put on what? We put on those garments. We're putting on the elect. We're putting on the attributes of the elect, man. You see, and it's through this word, all right, that we learn how to put on the elect as the elect, man. Okay, you go to it in other translations. Go to the all right, NLT says, since the Most High chose you to be the holy people He loves, all right, and that's Israel. That's only Israel, man. You must clothe yourselves. You see that? You must clothe yourselves with tender heart and mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. So we must clothe ourselves, all right, with tender heart and mercy, kindness, all right, humility, gentleness, and patience, man, which are all attributes, okay, of the elect. And this word is doing this. The word is clothing us, man. Okay. And ultimately, when you go here, this is the ultimate end game, as we're being clothed with the elect. All right. The ultimate end game is here, Revelation 19. Okay. It's 7. It says, let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to Him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and His wife, which is the church, have made herself ready. And how are we making ourselves ready? By putting on those garments, those beautiful garments. It's like putting on, the wife, you know, she'll be being decked out before, the wedding. She will be getting, all these accessories. Okay, well, that's us, clothing ourselves in righteousness, man, through this word. This word is what? The instructions of righteousness. You see, this word is like a mirror. We can check ourselves, you know, see if we on point. Okay. So the church is like that wife that's making herself ready. Okay. It says, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. And the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. You see, the righteousness of the saints, man. So our conduct is clothing us, man. Our behavior, our belief, our faith is clothing us, man. Patience, these things are clothing us, man. It's beautifying us, man. Okay, verse 9 it says, and he said unto them, unto me, right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, these are the true sayings of the Most High. You see, these are the true sayings of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay, so going back to Baruch, let's go back to the book of Baruch, read down. All right, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 5. All right, starting back at verse 3. It said, for the Most High will show thy brightness unto every country under heaven. Okay? Because we're getting ready to get delivered, man, in glorious fashion. Okay? And it's going to be known that we are those chosen people. You see? It says, for thy name shall be called on the Most High forever, the peace of righteousness, okay, and the glory of the Most High's worship. Okay? So it's going to be known in that day of deliverance. Matter of fact, real quick, when you go to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, as we're going to be delivered in the presence of our enemies. We're going to be changed in the presence of our enemies, man. Okay? Because we're putting on the elect, well, the elect are getting ready to be changed, be delivered. Okay? Right in the presence of our enemies, man. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. Okay? This is what you're seeing now. All right? The Lord has the hopeful elect taking the bold stance. These counts, these sincere men that the Lord has raised up in these latter days, all right, to stand in boldness, okay, against his devil, man, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they had looked for. Okay? You see, they're going to be amazed at those chariots, man, and their deliverance and who's being delivered. Okay, these people are going to be in amazement. I said, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision as a joke and a proverb of reproach. Okay? Because in the system of Edomite supremacy, okay, Israelites, especially Israelite men, and women too, all right, but for sure the men, mainly the men, are looked at as a joke. They're meant to be a joke, not to be taken seriously in anything. Okay, and these same people, all right, northern and southern kingdom, Issachar, okay, that you know people don't even recognize Gad and Reuben. you know they look at the southern, I mean the northern kingdom is just migrants, from Central South America. They just look at them as just these migrants, refugees. Okay, So these people that they look at in such a low light, all right, the Lord's getting ready, okay, to deliver and exalt them in glory, man. Okay, he said, we are fools counting his life madness and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of the Most High? And his lot is among the saints. Okay, so we're going to be delivered in the presence of our enemies, man. Okay, and that glory is going to be seen, all right, globally, man, because it's going to be a global deliverance. So mainly here in America, but the deliverance is going to be global. Okay, elects being, the elect being beamed up. I say elects, but the elect, all right, being beamed up globally, man. You know the Lord gonna put on the show as He's destroying this place, man. What an ending, oh, what an ending, man. You see, it says, "For thy name shall be called," all right. For thy name shall be called of the Most High forever. Thy peace, all right, of righteousness, and the glory of the Most High's worship. Arise, O Jerusalem, and stand on high, and look about toward the east, and behold, thy children gathered from the west, all right, unto the east by the word, because it begins with this word. Okay, so that's why the Lord he's the spirit and his power is behind this preaching, man, because it's doing a mighty work, it's doing a gathering. Okay, until Shiloh shall the gathering of the people be, and that's gonna be through this word first. All right, with Shiloh Yahweh Shai. Okay, but it's gonna be through this word first, then the physical deliverance at his second coming. It says, "Thy children gather from the west unto the east by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the remembrance of the Most High." Okay, which when you go here to let's get this in the book of Matthew and Isaiah as well. Let's get to Isaiah first. Isaiah, I think it was 43. This is Isaiah 43 and 4. It says, "Since thou was precious in my sight," speaking to Israel, thou had thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. All right, speaking to his people, Israel, man, and this time the elect. Therefore would I give men for thee and people for thy life. Okay, that's why we Howard Shot comes back. He's gonna be putting people, all right, to death on our behalf. So our deliverance is their destruction, man. You see, because in the process of delivering us, and Yahweh Shai, all right, it say the slain of the Lord shall be from one end of the earth to the other. Okay, so as a a ransom for us, all right, these nations finna get it, man. Okay, these heathens. It says, "Fear not, for I'm with thee. I will bring thy seed." All right, thy seed. And what is the seed? Okay, I will bring thy seed, man. Okay, it's impossible for another nation to be of the seed of Israel. Okay, when you go into the word in the Hebrew, it's Zerah. All right, which goes into offspring, descendants. All right, which comes from what? What, your actual semen. Okay, your offspring, your descendants, your posterity, your children. Okay, what you produce, your seed. Okay, so this is only for their seed of Israel, man, their lineage. All right, their bloodline of Israel, man. Okay, said, fear not, I am with thee, and I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. Okay, I will say to the north, give up. I will say to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from far and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Okay, so the sons and daughters of the seed of Jacob, man. Okay, so even every one that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him. Yeah, I have made him. You see? And we're going to be the Lord's glory in the earth, man. That rebuke and shame is going to be taken off us, man. You know, we're going to be an extension of the Lord's glory in the earth. Okay, let's go here to Matthew. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 8. Okay, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 8, verse 11. It says, and I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west, okay, and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. You see that? So this word is going throughout the earth. Okay, that's why how shall I say it real quick? Matthew 20:24. Okay, because before the end come, what will have to happen? Matthew 24:14. In this gospel, okay, this doctrine, man, the truth. Okay, the true doctrine, man. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And then shall the end come. Okay? So in this gospel, all right, shall go throughout all the world because it's going to be a global deliverance. So the gospel will have to compass the whole entire earth. And then the end comes the physical gathering, man. Okay? So let's go back. All right, let's go back here. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 5. All right, 5 again says, arise, O Jerusalem, and stand on high, and look about toward the east, and behold, thy children gathered, all right, from the west unto the east by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the remembrance of the Most High. For they departed from thee on foot and were led away of their enemies, but the Most High bringeth them unto thee, exalted with glory, as children, okay, of the kingdom. You see that? The children, of the promise, okay, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. For the Most High have appointed that every high hill and banks of long continuance should be cast down and valleys filled up, to make even the ground, that Israel may go safely in the glory of the Most High. Okay, and that's the Most High bringing down these governments through Yahweh, man, paving the way for the government of Israel to be established. Okay. Moreover, even the woods and every sweet smelling tree shall overshadow Israel. Going back to paradise, man. By the commandments of the Most High, by the commandment of the Most High, for the Most High shall lead Israel with joy in the light of his glory, with the mercy and righteousness that cometh from him. Okay? So we're going home in glory, man. We left in shame, but we going home, all right, as God's, is immortal. You know, glorified people, man. Men, women, and children. Okay, so that's the point, Lord willing. You brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards your brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful. Shalom.